All right, welcome back to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. This is going to be a solo pod for me. First off, Happy New Year to anyone watching this. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve. Hopefully, you had a fun and safe holiday, and welcome you all new blessings into the new year. For this solo pod, it's going to be a quick one. I'm just going to go through the Phillies' projected lineup if the season started today. Now, obviously, there are two moves that I feel like will change this current lineup that I have, and that's going to be if they re-sign JT Realmuto, or if they don't re-sign JT, I think they're going to get another bat. So, but if they don't do this, this is what I think the Phillies will go with on opening day against the Texas Rangers on March 26th. It's coming up, still far away, but counting down the days. So leading off, no surprise, I'm going to have Trey Turner. Trey Turner batted 2 for us in 2023 and 2024. He was good, but Trey Turner with him, he's at his best when he's not trying to put the ball over the fence. He has pop, but his game is to hit 300, get on base for the big boppers like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper to drive him in. And he won the batting title last year. So as much as you guys know with Trey Turner, I've been highly critical of him. And it has nothing to do with what he does in the regular season. I just wish he would perform in the postseason a little bit better. We paid him $300 million. I think you can expect your $300 million player to come through in the clutch. 2024, he struggled mightily. 2025 was more of the same. Some people will say it was the hamstring. I guess. I mean, I don't know how much a hamstring hinders you from like hitting the ball. Obviously, his running would be depleted a little bit. But I think Trey Turner, he's going to have a great regular season, but for me, the judgment of him will come in what he does in October 2026. I think he can do it, but he's not moving from the leadoff spot. You don't break something that's not broken. The number 2 is going to be big high debate. So last year was Kyle Schwarber, and you can't argue with the production he had in the 2 spot. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to put Bryce Harper in the 2 spot, and I'm going to put Kyle Schwarber in the 3 spot. Bryce Harper had the second highest chase rate of his career at 35.6. His highest chase rate was 2022, 35.7. So basically the same thing. It was his highest chase rate of his career, which is in the 11th percentile of Major League Baseball. Not very good. I got these stats off Baseball Savant. If you guys are ever interested, it's a great website. If they're in the blue, that's bad. If they're in the red, that's high. So Bryce's was in the 11th percentile, not good. Anywhere like in the 90 is elite, and then in the middle, it'll just go out that way. And he saw the least amount of pitches in the zone for any hitter in Major League Baseball. 43% of the pitches he saw was in the strike zone. So basically, no one pitching to Bryce Harper. Now, why is that? I think we all know. He has no protection. He hasn't had real protection since maybe you can say 2022 in the playoffs when JT was hitting behind him, because JT was still hitting very well. But it's been Alec Bohm. Now, some people might say, Kyle Schwarber just hit 56 homers. Why would you move him out of the 2 spot? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Similar to what I said about Trey Turner. Here's where I'm going to come at you with that of why I think Kyle Schwarber should protect Bryce Harper. Kyle Schwarber in 2025 had a 21.5% chase rate, which is in the 90th percentile of Major League Baseball. What did I just say? 90%. Anything up is good. So he obviously has better plate discipline. Now, if they flip-flop, obviously Harper, his chase rate will go down, Kyle Schwarber's will go up, just naturally of the not having protection. I think Kyle Schwarber can have more plate discipline to where he's going to get less pitches to hit, obviously, because Bryce Harper's hitting in front of him opposed to him hitting behind him. But Kyle Schwarber is Kyle Schwarber. He's the DH. He's the hitter. That's all he does. Bryce Harper plays first base. So you make that change, and if it doesn't work, you go back. You put Kyle Schwarber back in number 2, you put Bryce number 3. This is what I want Rob Thompson to do in the beginning months of the season to see if it works. Because what's April through September for the Philadelphia Phillies? It's a trial period for the playoffs. It's been like that the 4 years. You see what works in the regular season so you can optimize your chances in the postseason. We lost last year. Even though Kyle Schwarber hit 56 home runs, he didn't do well in the playoffs. Bryce Harper didn't do well in the playoffs. So why not change it up? But that's where I'm going to flip-flop 2 and 3. So let's go to number 4. So in my perfect world, I want the Phillies to go get a real bat like a Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman to be the protection for Bryce Harper in the 4 spot. Ideally, let's just say we sign Alex Bregman. Then I'd go Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, Bryce Harper. Or you can even flip it to where Bryce Harper's batting second. Kyle Schwarber's batting fourth. Alex Bregman is in the 3 hole to split up the lefties. This episode is going under the notion that we don't make that move. So who do I have number 4? Let me just type this in for you guys. I got Adolis Garcia batting fourth. Do I love it? No. Are you guys going to love it? Absolutely freaking not. But if we don't make any more moves, your 4 hitters are either going to be Adolis Garcia or Alec Bohm. I'm done with Alec Bohm batting fourth. I don't care if we don't make any additions. I'm done with it. Alec Bohm had a really good postseason. I will give him his props. As much as I've criticized Alec Bohm, and I've done a lot of it, he had a really good postseason. He limited his chase in the postseason. He took what they gave him. But the problem with Bryce Harper not seeing any pitches is because they're not afraid to go against Alec Bohm. One big key component to that is because Alec Bohm has no power. Adolis Garcia has power. So at worst, the pitcher in their head when they're facing Bryce Harper and they have Adolis Garcia on deck, like, okay, if I walk Harper, there's a real chance Garcia can send one to the freaking moon. So that's why I got Adolis Garcia batting fourth. Now, again, I do not want this to be the case on opening day, but this is just what we're going through right now. And number 5 might shock you. I got Bryson Stott. So Bryson Stott post All-Star break batted .294, had an .855 OPS. And for as much as we criticize Kevin Long is a great hitting coach. And he made an adjustment with Bryson Stott, and it was a small adjustment. He had him lower his hands. So Bryson Stott is usually like this. Midseason, he dropped his hand down here. What Bryson Stott and Kevin Long said attribute to that was it took a lot of like bat wiggle out of the game. It was more simplified it. So it was more A to B to the ball compared to here, 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 here. And I think that was a great adjustment, and the stats show it. He had a phenomenal second half. Now, in our ideal world, Bryson Stott is an ideal 7th or 9th hitter. Bottom of the lineup, get it moving to get the top going again, turn over the lineup. But right now, I have him batting 5th. And if you remember in 2023, he was the 5th hitter in the playoffs. Now, besides the Grand Slam, he kind of struggled a little bit in the postseason, as is the case for many Phillies in the past couple of years. But right now, I got him batting 5th. And if he produces like he did in the second half, he's going to be a good 5th hitter for Major League Baseball. And with his defense, you might have an all-star at second base for there. So, big Bryson Stott guy. And then I got Alec Bohm batting 6th. So, as much as I just criticize Alec Bohm, I think in a major league lineup, if he's batting 6th or 7th, that is an elite lineup. Alec Bohm is a good hitter. He's not a great hitter. He's not a 4 hitter. That's what the Phillies need to get away with. They're putting Alec Bohm in a bad situation because they're expecting him to protect Bryce Harper. That's not when Alec Bohm is at his best. He's at his best at 6th or 7th, getting his singles, getting his hits, getting his doubles, because he has no power. He's 29. I believe he turns 30 in August. He's not going to suddenly hit 30 homers. We all wanted that when we drafted him. A 6'5" third baseman. You think he's going to hit 30 homers with that body frame. He's simply not. So we have to understand this is who he is and put him in the most ideal spot to be successful. And similar to Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm had a really, really good second half. And really, ever since May, the calendar turned to May, he had a good season. I'm sure you guys remember in April, he struggled mightily. And if you look at some of the advanced metrics, he was getting unlucky. He was hitting the ball hard. I was watching it because I watch every Phillies games, and you could tell that he was hitting the ball hard. He just getting kind of unlucky. Now, in the moment, that doesn't make me feel any better. It doesn't make you feel any better because he's coming off, in 2025, he was coming off the benching. Everyone thought he was going to get traded. He didn't get traded. So there was a target on his back. I think that played into him struggling mightily in April. They moved him to the 8th spot, and then he got his mojo back, and then they moved him back to 4 and 5 just because he was hitting so well. So let's go through OPSs that Alec Bohm had after the month of April, because I'm not even going to go into April. It was awful. But in May, he had an 874 OPS. Bohmer's not an 874 OPS guy, but okay. June, 752, which is, I think, where he's at his best. A 750 OPS guy is phenomenal out of Alec Bohm. June, 741, August, 735, and September, 904. And we all know what he did in the postseason. So I think Alec Bohm is going to have not a resurgent year. I don't think he's ever going to be pre-All-Star break in 2024 where he was the National League starting third baseman. But if he's a 752 OPS guy and he's batting 6th or 7th in your lineup, that is very good. So I got Alec Bohm batting 6th. 7th, I got Brandon Marsh. Now, you could flip-flop Marsh and Stott. If you want to do that, I have no problem. This is just my personal preference. And Brandon Marsh, similar to Alec Bohm, had a dreadful April. There was a point where he was genuinely going to get sent down. Now, he got injured and then he had a rehab assignment. Me personally, I think that was a phantom IL just to give him some time off, kind of clear his head. He went to Lehigh Valley. And I remember that minor league stint, it wasn't your normal rehab assignment. It wasn't just a weekend. He was there for about a week. Now, reports came out that he tweaked his hamstring again. Sure, I don't think so. I think his trip to Lehigh Valley was a legit reset for him, and it worked. He had a post All-Star break. He had a 881 OPS and a 302 average. That is phenomenal out of Brandon Marsh. He plays Gold Glove defense in left field. Center field is a completely different situation. We can get into the defense stuff in another episode, but Brandon Marsh in center field is not good, but you put him in left. And I think Brandon Marsh is best when he's only facing right-handed pitching, and the stats back that up. We tried it a little bit. Here's what I think. I don't think they ever gave Marsh a real chance to hit lefties. They didn't do it in 2023. They didn't do it in 2024. They kind of did it in the first month of the year. Rob Thompson said he's going to face lefties, which he did, and he obviously struggled. If Brandon Marsh only plays against right-handed pitching, he is a phenomenal player. If he bats 7th for you, that's great. Now, this is the lineup if nothing else changes. That's why I'm imploring them to go get a real bat. I don't know if they're going to do that. If they don't, Brandon Marsh batting 7th or 5th against right-handed pitching is ideal. Now, let's get into the 8th spot. This is going to be the worst spot in the lineup. It's going to be Marchand or Stubbs because that's the catching duo I think is going to be there on opening day if JT doesn't resign. This whole episode is under the premise if nothing changes. So in this situation, JT's not on the team. You're not going to get any good production, whether it's Rafael Marchand or Garen Stubbs. What we hope out of them is to play phenomenal defense. Marchand and Stubbs are good defenders, handle the pitching staff, and maybe once or twice every month they come up with a big hit. Don't expect anything out of the 8-hole. 9th, I have Justin Crawford. Now, some people might say, why not Justin Crawford 8th, Marchand Stubbs kind of 9th? I personally believe your worst hitter in the lineup should bat 8th because the 9 hitter's better and he could turn over the lineup. So I think Justin Crawford in the 9 spot not only does that, but 2, lets him ease into Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not a good place for a rookie to struggle because we care about our baseball. We really do. So I implore everyone to kind of let Justin Crawford be easy on him. He's a young kid. Going to play center field if nothing else changes in Philadelphia on a team trying to win a World Series. That's a lot to put on a young kid. Do I think he can handle it? Absolutely. The makeup of Justin Crawford, son of Carl Crawford, he's been in the big league clubhouse since he was a kid. He understands it, and I think he is built for the moment. Now, the big thing about Justin Crawford is his ground ball rate. That's all you heard. It's like it's not going to translate to the next level. What's funny is the scouts did not think his ground ball rate would transfer to AAA. What did he do in AAA last year? Batted 320, had a phenomenal season. Now, when you get to the big leagues, some of those ground balls that sneak through hits in AAA are going to get caught simply because the defense is much better in Major League Baseball. We all know that. So his ground ball rate will have to drop, but I don't want them going into Justin Crawford saying he has to change what he's doing completely. Now, if he struggles mightily, then it's time to make a change. I think you need to let hitters be hitters, especially if they've been successful in their entire minor league career until it doesn't work out. I'm sure a lot of people watching this episode who are big Phillies fans know Scott Kingery, one of my favorite players that didn't pan out. You fall in love with these prospects, and when they don't have success, it's tough because I thought he was a great kid. I thought he was going to be a really good player. But what did they do to Scott Kingery? They changed his swing to an uppercut. Why on earth would they do that? If he had his swing to where he was when he had in 2019, which was his best year, and they kind of kept him at that, I think Scott Kingery would have had a really good big league career. Now, some might say, well, and he went to another organization and he struggled mightily. Confidence is everything in baseball. 90% mental, 10% physical. So when they changed his swing, I think they broke Scott Kingery. So I do not want them to do that with Justin Crawford. Now, he has lowered his hands a little bit, so I'm not a hitting coach. I'm not going to even pretend like I am. I struggled and played high school baseball. I could not hit, right? So I'm not trying to tell you I know what's going to happen with these swing adjustments. But from what I've heard, is Justin Crawford. If you see his AAA highlights, he's like right here, but he dropped his hands a little bit. That's supposedly supposed to help with the ground ball rate, gives him a more chance to lift the ball slightly. I don't want them overhauling his swing. But if he drops it a little bit, which he has, and he puts the ball in the air just a little bit more, I think he's going to be very successful at the big league level. And I have high hopes for Justin Crawford. If he bats 280, 290 with a 730, 740 OPS, I'm a big OPS guy. That's my favorite hitting stat. So you're going to hear that a lot throughout the duration of the podcast. I think that's a success because I think he's going to play good enough defense. Preferably, I wish he was in left field and we signed Harrison Bader, but we're not going to go down that tangent. But if he plays good enough defense in center field, bats ninth for you, and he's making league minimum because that's what he would do in his first 3 years pre-arb, I think that's going to be phenomenal. Do I love this lineup? No, I don't. But I'm just giving you guys what I think is going to be the opening day lineup if you don't make any changes. Now, should we make changes? Abso-freaking-lutely. In my previous episodes, I've talked about I want JT. I want them to let him walk. I want them to use that money on an Alex Bregman or a Bo Bichette. Because if you put that right-handed bat atop, that drops everybody down. And that takes a lot of pressure off Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Alec Bohm. Now, if we get Bregman or Bo Bichette, Alec Bohm's probably gone, of course. The 8th spot's still going to struggle. But that's why I think we need a bigger bat. And I think it really matters in October. I think this lineup is currently constructed with the pitching staff is going to win 90-plus games and is going to be in the position in October. But what is this team building for? It's Red October. It's actually hitting in the playoffs because pitching has been good. The starting pitching has been really good this postseason and last postseason. The bullpen sucked in 2024, whatever. But the reason we have been bounced in the first round is because of our offense. So Dave Dombrowski needs to get another big bat. It is organizational malpractice if we go into the season as either Alec Bohm or Dolius Garcia as your cleanup hitter. That's ridiculous. That's not fair to Bryce if he's batting third. That's not fair to Kyle Schwarber if he's batting third. But that's kind of where I see this lineup shaping up. We're just going to have to see what they do. Me and Ryan will come with another episode, I believe, tomorrow. We're going to be answering your questions. So if you guys have any questions that you want answered on the pod, on the episode tomorrow, leave it in the comments below, either on the YouTube or on the TikTok. And then another thing before we leave, Imai's posting deadline is Friday. So I think he's going to sign tomorrow because you have to get your physical, you have to get everything approved. Because if he doesn't sign by Friday, I think it's 5 o'clock the deadline. He's going back to Japan. Now, if he signs like a 2-year deal with like the White Sox, similar to Murakami, I'm going to be absolutely pissed with the Phillies organization because they have been trying to get in the Japanese market for years. That's what they've been imploring. They offered Yamamoto more money. He went to the Dodgers, right? Murakami wasn't going to be a big fit. They signed Kode Aiega to a minor league deal just trying to get in. And if you miss on an opportunity to bring in a elite Japanese pitcher because you're afraid to give him a long-term deal, again, organizational malpractice. So go sign Imai, go get him on this pitching rotation, and let's go win a World Series. But that's going to do it for me. You guys have a safe New Year's, and can't wait for the next episode. Thanks, and have a good one.